Welcome back to another episode of Positively Uncensored, your favorite reality TV and interview podcast. It's your host, Leah, and happy Halloween. I am recording this on Friday, October 31st, Halloween, and I have a report to make that I have yet to watch any scary movies, really, except for the original Hostel, which my boyfriend hadn't seen this Halloween season. If you are watching this today on Halloween, please comment to me what's the best Halloween movie? What's the best scary movie that you've watched this Halloween season? What should I watch this evening? I'm going to be going through these comments so that I have something to watch by tonight, by midnight tonight in Duncan's toy chest. Home Alone quotes, me shaking hands. I'll always be able to interject them. Before we dive into the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, which I'm going to be discussing episode 7 in this breakdown, I want to tell you guys a little bit of a scary story to set the mood for spooky season. The scary story is this. There is a beautiful, competent, intelligent woman who gets on the microphone and tells all of her thoughts. And for some reason, some of you aren't subscribed. Some of you aren't subscribed. Some of you aren't subscribed. That's scary. That's scary. What are we doing here? Whether you're listening on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, please click that subscribe button. Please turn on notifications so that you can keep up with all of the latest episodes. If you are on TikTok, make sure that you're following me. If you're on Instagram, make sure that you're following me so that you can stay in the loop on all things Positively Uncensored. Let's get into the episode where the ladies have what feels like a callback to our childhood, a little bit of nostalgia. If you are a 90s kid, if you're a millennial, you definitely remember the episode of Fairly Odd Parents crossover with Jimmy Neutron. And that's what the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City getting on and chartering the below deck yacht felt like to me. Now, I know that this is not the first time that the Housewife franchise has overlapped with Below Deck. I think a couple of other Bravo franchises has as well. Please comment below what your favorite crossover is. I did not watch the original Real Housewives of New York, so I did not watch their Below Deck episode. I'm not familiar with them. All I needed to know is that the ladies are MAGA, they're Trumpers. I figured that they were probably diabolical on the yacht, and that's pretty much the report I got back, whether it was about Ramona or Jill Zarin, somebody was problematic, right? Right. So the ladies arrive one by one for their trip to Kanawha on this yacht, and Bronwyn lets the ladies know last minute, I'm not going to be arriving to the airport to travel with you, but I'm going to meet you there. Bronwyn's committed. I want to talk about the level of commitment from Bronwyn. And listen, there was a lot of background brain work that went into this decision, right? Bronwyn is making the commitment to fly 30 hours by herself to meet the ladies for this trip. She is doing this at the height of news breaking, which has like legal accusations against her. I believe some of them included fraud, identity theft. I don't remember all of them, but multiple charges in the news about Bronwyn's past allegedly catching up to her. So this news broke, the trip is starting, and she's not going to stay back on the trip. She's just going to meet the ladies and show up late. What I think is interesting about this is Whitney says it herself. Bronwyn's damned if she does, and she's damned if she doesn't. They're going to talk about this story regardless. And I think Todd was lacking a little bit of knowledge about how things work, the interwovenness of the Housewives franchise. Yes, Bronwyn has these serious allegations against herself and going. She's probably going to have to talk about them, hash things out with the ladies, and could potentially say something that could get her in legal trouble, right? However, if she doesn't go, they're going to have conversations without her ability to chime in, without rebuttal, without like immediately turning down what they're saying and replacing it with fact. She has the opportunity to interject herself and say a different narrative, which would actually be positive for both Bronwyn and Todd's career. So Todd's not really thinking, I'm tired of Todd, okay? He told Bronwyn that if she goes on this trip, she better not come home and complain. And what if she does? What are you going to do? Eat her maraschino cherry? You're already an asshole, right? Right. And Maybe she would rather dress up as a buoy and throw herself in the middle of the water in Kanawha, have Captain Jason save her, than spend any more moments trying to get Todd's attention. So, I also want to point out, I am on the middle of season 6 of Real Housewives of Potomac, desperately trying to catch up so that I can understand the lore behind what is happening with Dr. Wendy, her husband Eddie, and these legal accusations, the threat of them potentially going to jail. However, the point of this is, on Real Housewives of Potomac, it seems like an unspoken rule that the women do not talk about news stories. They don't talk about the headlines. They don't bring it up on TV, except for Ashley Darby, right? And like the recent example that I'm watching on this season is there was rumors that Eddie was cheating on Wendy, and the only person in the group who brought that up was Ashley. We learned from Karen that every single person saw the headline, they knew what the rumors were, but only Ashley was messy enough to actually bring that up on camera in front of the group. The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City are so interesting because this is, except for Mary, and I always want Mary to be protected. Don't bring her mess into this, right? But this is a group of mostly white women, and it's white mess. And all of them talk about the headlines. If it's in the news, they're going to talk about it on the show. And that's just a stark contrast to what I'm seeing on Real Housewives of Potomac. We learned as the ladies are arriving that there's a little bit of lore between Heather and Captain Jason. Their paths have crossed before in Australia when she went for a 1 week with Whitney, and it sounds like they boned, which was basically confirmed later on in the episode. However, when Brittany sees Captain Jason, she wants to fill her 30-day fast from Jared with something, and she wants to get with either Captain Jason or a hot deckhand before this trip is over, because her and Jared are on a 30-day break. Despite the fact that he helped her pack, despite the fact that she brought a creepy Build-A-Bear plushie with Jared's voice inside of it, Brittany is both unpredictable and campy, and just like unaware enough that she is just very interesting to watch. To me, she's very interesting to watch. I also love the fact that Brittany is able to rile up Meredith, because not very many people can rile up Meredith, but Brittany can. And I enjoy that aspect. Don't go in my comments and talk about the "you can leave" moment, because I know Meredith can get riled, but it takes a bit, and Brittany's really good at it, just like Whitney is good at poking at Lisa, which I love to see. Bronwyn arrives late like she said she would, dressed like a buoy floating in the middle of the ocean, dressed like your first bath time. I hate the outfit. I didn't like it the first time that she wore it on her grid, which, mind you, Lisa has the memory of an elephant. The moment she sees Bronwyn, she remembers that Bronwyn already wore this outfit 2 years ago and posted it on the grid. Nobody's safe. No outfit repeater is safe from Lisa, because her memory spans back to a decade, which is probably why all the tags are left on her clothes, because she always needs a new outfit and she returns them, right? And you can't rewear an outfit if you've returned it. I'm seeing what's happening there. Like I said, Bronwyn arrives to find out that she is rooming with Brittany. Okay. And not only that, but Brittany gets out that plushie, pulls the thing, and it's like, "Hi, baby." What does it say? "I miss you, baby. I miss you, baby." In Jared Osmond's voice. Name something creepier. Like, not even Donnie. Is Donnie still alive? Not even Donnie. That's the Osmond who I know. Continuing on, Bronwyn talks about how she believes that the leak is coming from someone in the group. Angie is puking in her bathroom, puking in her bedroom, puking on the dock. Angie is puking everywhere. And all of us have been asking the same question. Where was the Dramamine? Like on this yacht, have you never had someone charter who has seasickness, or did she have a Dramamine patch on and it truly didn't help? Once we saw Angie throw her ass in the water and she was still seasick, I knew that there was going to be no relief for her. And it single-handedly convinced me that regardless of if I get to make all of these nice luxury requests, I'm still on a yacht, floating back and forth, rocking, and that's going to make me sick. I will never be doing it. I will never be doing it. Bronwyn talks about the legal allegations because it comes up and she addresses it, nips it in the bud at the start of the trip, which was also a good idea because it freed up space for the disaster that ensued at the dinner later on, which we will close with. She talks about how some of these legal charges are stemming from when she was 19 years old, pregnant, leaving BYU, did not pay her last month's rent, and it's coming back for her. The women are pretty astonished that something that this small and also at a very vulnerable moment in her life is coming back to haunt her, but that is the legal system. We also find out that one of the allegations is allegedly incorrect and has more to do with the fact that Bronwyn cooperated in a case that's sealed. And there's no charges, there's no mugshot, that they had a misunderstanding and the articles had a misunderstanding of what that situation was. She said she cannot speak on it. The case is sealed. I'm not going to lie, I'm very curious on that. I'm assuming Bronwyn's not in witness protection program or we wouldn't be seeing her on television. But it certainly makes me curious about what that means. Lisa tries to claim that nobody in the group would give outside info. What she forgot to mention in parentheses was except for me, because Lisa, I think it's you. I think it's you. Let me go back a little because I want to make sure I explain this correctly as I'm reading through all my notes. Bronwyn, at this point in the conversation, does not say directly to Lisa that she thinks it's her. She simply brings up the fact that she thinks that somebody in the group is the reason that these things are being leaked. Lisa gets defensive. She chomps on that food real good. She chews it down to every morsel. It's completely broken up. You're good. You can swallow now. She's very defensive. It's obvious that Lisa, it was you. Okay? The way that you're reacting right now just wouldn't make sense. Now, could this be a crazy fan who's been posting stuff online? Absolutely. Right? Like other housewife franchises, there's a messy troll who gets involved and causes things from outside. But then there was also Monica, right? Reality Von Tease. And that was also on this show. Happened to be on this franchise, Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. I personally think that Lisa's been nervous since the reveal of Reality Von Tease because she also leaks information. Now, at this point in the episode, Heather admits that her and Jason have fucked before, and Angie is struggling, hanging on for dear life. She's throwing up everywhere, trying to do like some water activities and sit with the girls. And Lisa's being a bitch and she's like, ew, I don't want to be anywhere near Angie's barf. Anyways, Mary's being a great friend to Angie throughout the entirety of this episode. And I love that. That's my favorite part of the episode, actually. So as Angie is struggling to throw up, Bronwyn's talking, and she's saying that she definitely thinks that Lisa's the one who leaked information because she was called Conwyn by Lisa at an event recently, which is the same thing that she was called in these tweets. And my thought is, as we're seeing the tweet popped up, one person called you Fraudwyn and one person called you Conwyn. So I feel like this is a little bit of a tinfoil hat theory. What do you think? Is Fraudwyn the same as Conwyn? Do I think Lisa's the mole? Maybe. Do I think Lisa's cyber team would be more likely to do the dirty work for her? Yes. We fast forward to their evening, and this is where things start to go left for everybody involved. Angie is sicker than ever. She cannot even move without throwing up or have a conversation. So she is laying in bed. Mary is being a good friend and hanging out with Angie. And like I said, this was one of the most enjoyable parts of the episode just because it was wholesome, it was relatable. It reminded me and my best friend. As they're sitting there in their rooms, the ladies are getting ready for dinner outside, which turns out to be a shit show. Angie, like I said, is sick as a dog, and Mary goes to get Captain Jason to bring her ice, who I guess acts as the ship's medic. Like, I don't feel like I ever remember that on the seasons I did watch of Below Deck. He comes in, he has ice for Angie. Mary supports her and decides that she's going to eat dinner in her room. And I just want to point out something about the food. As they're preparing the food, mind you, Mary goes and cleans out her bowels so that she can have room for this dinner. The portion sizes are very small. I felt like I was duped from watching Below Deck because I'm not a regular watcher. So I'm talking about when I used to watch Below Deck and how they present the food versus what I saw through the lens of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City and their production team, because the food looked awful. I'm just going to be honest. Those sliders that they had during one meal looked horrible. Mary's portions were small. The food didn't look enticing. It didn't even really look hot. And on Below Deck, there's this entire hubbub about presentation for the food, about the servers getting it out on time as soon as it's plated. I don't know. I felt like it was very lackluster. If I'm chartering this expensive yacht, maybe the experience is to just be able to be with a below deck crew and be on TV. But I was not impressed with the chef. I would not want this. As the ladies are sitting down and noticing that Angie and Mary will not be joining them because Angie is that ill, most of the women feel badly, except for Brittany, who's just happy to not hear Mary's commentary. Brittany, I don't know who you think you are, but Mary dislikes you more. We end up seeing a flashback of Brittany shopping with Bronwyn, and this was so shady. And this all comes back to bite Brittany in the ass. Honestly, as it should. Like, people talked about how Bronwyn's a pot stirrer. Yeah. Like, and we need that on Real Housewives. And Brittany is like the perfect person to set up. So Brittany had word vomit on this shopping trip. She told Bronwyn about how Lisa was big sistering her and she's getting very tired of it. She's talking about how she has never seen Meredith not have a seizure, to quote Brittany. And this gets relayed to the women. Bronwyn reports back all of the comments. I don't know what exactly started happening at the table, but all of a sudden Bronwyn was like, okay, well, Brittany said this about you and this about you, and this lights a fire under Meredith's ass. She is pissed at the wording. And honestly, I don't blame her, because even if her child didn't suffer from having seizures, somebody's children do. Like seizures is something real that people have to deal with. You can say, I've never seen you not frantic. I've never seen you not animated. So Meredith reacts, because if she reacts about her hearing aid, she's absolutely going to react about this and says that one of her sons has seizures and how dare her. And she takes her water and she pours it right on Brittany. It must soak Brittany, because Brittany's hair looked like mine, but wet. Like, I thought watching that she poured it in her lap, but Brittany's head was soaked. Okay, so that must have went all over her, and Brittany decides to fling water back at her. I will say it was a classy decision to not sling the glass of red wine. That would have been diabolical, especially because not even one drop proceeded to hit Meredith. Brittany completely misses Meredith and hits Bronwyn. And do you see what I said too? Bronwyn was able to take the heat off of her, tell them the truth about these legal rumors that are resurfacing about her, and then throw Brittany under the bus. Like, that was rather a good decision. Now, the below deck crew is vacuuming up water from this escapade. And I just want to say, I always feel bad for mistreating people who work in service. I don't like to make a mess for people. So I did hate the fact that they had to clean up their water, even though that was an iconic scene. Hate that. Brittany, take your ugly dress off and wipe up the floor. So Meredith hates Brittany's ass, and Bronwyn couldn't wait to say that. Like, as soon as Brittany was saying it to her on that shopping trip, I know Bronwyn was pocketing that information and thinking about when and where she could next spill that. At this dinner, things start to get a little bit more direct about the issue of the leak. Heather, this was very shocking. Heather, who has been Lisa's lapdog and called out for it in all the seasons, Heather, who has always tried to fit in with the popular girls, the mean girls, at the expense of whomever they're targeting at that time. Heather is the one who's direct with Lisa and says, I think that you're the source of everything. And this is a change of events, Heather. Things go absolutely left. Bronwyn starts crying. I'm not sure for what. Yelling breaks out enough that Mary and Angie, who are in their rooms trying to eat a deconstructed cheesecake, can make out the fact that Lisa and Whitney are the persons whose voice they're hearing. Lisa's crying. She's like, how could you think that? How could you think that? She walks over to Heather, grabs her face. I don't know what's with Lisa invading people's personal boundaries, but I would have been pissed. This alone showed me who she has been in their friendship. And Heather, you let her feel way too comfortable and way too controlling of you. So she's grabbing Heather's face. She's like, you can't possibly believe this. She's pointing at Meredith saying, you better have defended me. You better have defended me. And Lisa just can't make herself look more guilty. If she didn't do this, I feel like she would laugh it off, be like, you're ridiculous. Where's the proof? But she just looks very guilty. Even if she didn't do this, the way that she's responding, guilty as charged. That's the way that you look. Now the chef comes in as all of this yelling is going on and attempts to make a speech and ends up backing out like the Homer Simpson meme, back into the bushes, and retreats. He's like, retreat. I think they should be embarrassed about how they treated service staff. Like, I do think they should be embarrassed, especially since Heather started off this trip by saying that she's known Captain Jason. Like, she doesn't want to embarrass her or anybody else on the trip. She wants them to have a good time. Well, all of you were disrespectful. They could barely plate your meals. When the chef came to give a speech, you ignored him. This was the one and only time that he showed his face out of the kitchen, and you didn't allow that. Where Bravo dropped the ball is we should have gone right into the below deck episode. It should have ended Salt Lake City and gone right into the perspective of the people on below deck. Lisa gets up from the table and calls John hyperventilating. Actually, she FaceTimes John because as she walks further away, I can see his screen. I can't even imagine what his view must have looked like, but she's hyperventilating. Heather is following her. They're basically like on two sides of the round table, going at each other. Heather's trying to get to her. Lisa, you're not leaving, Lisa. Lisa, you're not leaving. The episode ends with Lisa on the dock talking to John, telling John that he better meet her at the hotel. And this made me question too. Is John just like in Kanawha as well at the hotel? Or was Lisa about to fly 30 hours and John's supposed to meet her in a little over a day? Like, what is this? If John comes every time, or if all of the husbands come every time, that's like a huge behind the scenes tidbit that I feel like we've never known. Or in like, does just Lisa do that? I had a lot of questions, but the episode ends with Brittany tries to come out to the dock and she's like, I was looking for Lisa. And she finds Lisa, tries to sit down next to her. Lisa shoos her away with the quickness because I don't want to talk to you. Heather ends up going back out there trying to convince her. What I thought was most interesting is Lisa was upset, but like, it kind of seemed like she like wasn't that mad at Heather. I don't even know. Like she was mad, and she was mad that Heather said that, but it was almost like for the first time maybe Heather took some power in their relationship. It was a very interesting thing to watch, and that's how the episode ended. Overall, I thought that there was lots of theatrics, lots of drama. Bronwyn did a good job of getting herself out of the hot seat, defending herself. Lisa, at the very minimum, looks guilty. Heather, for the first time, took herself off the lap seat in the passenger into the driver's seat. Brittany is crazy, whether she's in the middle of water or on land. That's rather impressive. And also, Whitney and whoever walked around the yacht at like 4 a.m. demanding a tour of the quarters, you guys are so annoying. Not only have you been rude all night, but now after you want to come into the kitchen and then you want to see where they're sleeping. Let them go to bed. Let them go to bed. Cringe. Also, Whitney, I think Whitney's having a bit of a midlife crisis. I know she's being very true to herself right now, but every time I see her, I just can't help but think that we're going to get the news that her and her husband have divorced soon. I think she's really trying to get the spark back in the marriage, but I think that her husband is pissed at her, both from the effects that she has had on his career, the show has had, and just her recent business failure. That's Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Tell me your thoughts in the comments. Today's episode of Positively Uncensored is brought to you by Audible. Audible gives you access to thousands of audiobooks, podcasts, and originals all in one place. I love it because as much as I make time to binge reality TV, I always wish I had more time for my ever-growing TBR list. But life and life's responsibilities always seem to get in the way of sinking into a good book. I'm sure that some of you, if not most of you, can relate. With Audible, I can finally catch up on the books that have been on my TBR list while I'm driving to work, cooking, or even in the shower. If you've been meaning to read more but can't find the time, listening with Audible makes it easy. You can try it out for free by heading to the details in the description. And when you do, you're also supporting the show. Now, let's get back to the episode. Moving on to Selling Sunset, I'm going to review the first two episodes of season 9. If you listen to my review of Love is Blind for the reunion, I said that everybody should watch Selling Sunset. If you've been into Selling Sunset prior, is it worth it to watch 8 seasons? Absolutely not. But if you've been watching Selling Sunset before and you're like, should I watch this season? Yes, you should watch it. I'll tell you if it ends up being good enough that you should catch all the way up. But episode 2 is what really reeled me in. So, episode 1, I'm basically going to breeze right through and give you the summary. Episode 1 of this season starts with a lot of tension still left over in the office from what was going on between Nicole and Emma, and also Bree and Chelsea's situation. Basically, half the girls in the office are on one side and half the girls are in another clique, and half of them aren't even in the office, which is infuriating to the twins, whom I still can't tell apart after 9 seasons of Selling Sunset and however many seasons of Selling OC. No matter how many times I see their face, they still look absolutely identical to me. Now, someone who stands out at the start of season 9 is Nicole. Nicole has a blonde bob. She looks Lord Farquaad, and Nicole just looks a mess. Like, Nicole looks a mess. She is a mess. We do learn that she officiated Mary's wedding, which was surprising to me because I didn't perceive her and Mary to have a strong friendship on camera, nor did I perceive Mary to be defending her. And Nicole talks about the fact that Mary has not checked in on her despite how close they were before. I think that Mary is like, even put their friendship aside because Nicole sucks, you're anti-trans, you're homophobic, fuck you. But aside from the fact that they had a friendship, Mary is just an awful office manager. I don't know if the rules are different because they're on 1099s and this isn't like a workplace. It's more like a place where all of them meet to discuss their clients. I don't quite understand how things work in real estate, but she seems to have some sort of role as far as rallying the girls, bailing out kinks, getting things resolved, and she never does it. She never does it. I remember she was entrusted with this role, which presumably comes with a bonus or a higher pay grade earlier in the seasons, and she has not done anything to prove that she deserves that. Now, Brett and Jason are sitting there watching the divide in the office because Nicole is trying to give a report to the team about a listing that she has in Malibu, and the entire office is playing piano on Amanza's purse, which I will say, I don't like Nicole. I don't think she deserves to have the floor, but that was definitely really rude. Even just rude in the aspect of this is your place of work. These are your bosses. Do any of you have a fear of getting in trouble? Also, Brie looked ridiculous. I know it's spooky season, I know it's Halloween, but her skeleton skull hands that were bedazzled on her shirt and then the handprints on her butt, you look an absolute mess for a work day. Like, you're not showing a house right now. You guys are just in the office and you look ridiculous. The episode ends with Nicole and Mary going to lunch and talking about the fact that Mary hasn't been a good friend to her. She tells Nicole, well, you fucked up. And that's how the episode ends. That's the highlights from episode 1. Episode 2 is a lot more interesting. Episode 2 starts with either Jason or Brett showing a house to Mary and Bree and telling them that he needs their help to put the drama aside because they have the potential to have a very lucrative year in real estate. They could have the best year in real estate, and they need to rally the troops, put the drama aside, get the team together, get the team motivated. And basically, I need you guys on my side because it has to start somewhere. Now, JoJo Siwa is Chrishell's client, and her house is hideous. I don't like JoJo Siwa. I'm uninterested in this feature. The fish table is awful. That's pretty much my thoughts on that. Yeah, I could have done without JoJo Siwa. Anyways, Brett and Jason are back in the office, and this time they are having an argument over spending $30,000 on hedges outside the office. Because they are right in downtown LA, they are having issues with people stopping out in front of the office to take pictures, trying to peer in the window and look through the office, and just overall interfering with business. I think the hedges are hideous. Like, that's what I want to say. I think that those hedges are hideous. I do think that I get it that they want some privacy, but I think there could have been internal plants added so that maybe you aren't seeing them outside and they're not bothering you as much. I think that that could have been a better, more aesthetic solution. Yeah, like, I think that you could have combated this from inside of the office, whether you put some plants in the window to perhaps help yourself and keep your own attention. But I think the hedges are hideous. I think that they're not aesthetically pleasing. I think that they obstruct the walkway. I think that it hides the sign. I don't think it would make me feel invited to go in there. Yeah, I basically don't see anything good about that. Maybe you guys should have appointments and have security out there instead, like how Tiffany's and Co does at the mall. Like, I just think that I get that. And I get it, right? $30,000 in the grand scheme of things for privacy, for peace of mind, but they're hideous. And I do think that they'll interfere with business. And that's just my personal opinion. Now, Amanza is hosting a Thanksgiving dinner at a restaurant where she has the entire office and a couple of faces who we don't recognize and honestly didn't need to be there. I don't know who Bob Big Lip was, but she was very annoying, the blonde girl. Everybody is sitting at dinner and talking about what they're grateful for, and they're given cards and guessing who wrote what they're grateful for. Chrishell ends up reading Nicole's card that she's grateful for eyesight. Chrishell's wondering, was this a scheme that Todd set up? Because how did I end up with Nicole's card? And Nicole dives into this 10-minute long story about how she lost her vision temporarily for 24 hours when she was ill 2 weeks ago, but alas, she has it back. Here's what I want to say. Chrishell is being bitchy to Nicole. However, Nicole is delusional to show up and expect a warm welcoming. We're not sitting in the office right now. We are at a dinner, right? And this isn't a work event, not paid to be here. This isn't a benefit for a charity. This is Amanza's dinner. And I owe courtesy to Amanza, but like I don't know what Nicole was expecting, why she was there, why she was invited. Like the thing about it is have some self-awareness. If you're the person who has caused a huge rift in the group and done something wrong and you show up and expect to be warmly received, I question why that is. In fact, I don't really care how mean Chrishell sounded at this dinner. Nicole took it well over the line. Nicole took it well over the line, and I also think that she was waiting to have this moment. So basically, Blonde Bob chimes in, the other Blonde Bob, not Laura Farquaad, Nicole, the other Blonde Bob. She's like, it's like really heavy in here because Chrishell was like, okay, cheers. You can see now Nicole's grateful for her vision. Who's next? And producers are grimy for this because they definitely did give Chrishell that card. That was definitely intentional to cause some tension because why would Chrishell give a fuck what Nicole's grateful for? If anybody else besides Chrishell or Emma had read that card, it just would have been a different reaction. Okay. But one of the girls like, it's really heavy. And Chrishell is like, don't act stupid or like you didn't see what Nicole said about Emma. And she's like, Chrishell, let's not. I didn't see it. I don't know what you're talking about. Listen, then, why are you interjecting? Like, maybe she didn't know, but I think that she was playing coy. I think that she was playing dumb. Do I think that what Nicole said about Emma is the worst thing you can do to a woman? No. No, I don't. I don't think that the allegation, I get it. This can affect her professional career. But remember on whatever show when there was rumors that someone was sleeping with their clients? That's worse. Like in my opinion, like if we're going to say like that's the worst thing you could ever do to a woman, I think it would actually probably be way worse if you were accused of sleeping with your client. Now, if I'm misinformed and that's what the story is, that she slept with a client's husband, okay, I can see how that affects your career. But I definitely don't think this is the worst thing that you can do to another woman, right? Like arguably it would have been way worse if you had actually done it. Because if you didn't do it, yes, some people will believe what they believe, but you can set the record straight. Like Nicole doesn't have the most integrity. Anyways, things escalate after that girl pretended that she didn't know. And I think Chrishell, oh yeah, what happens is Amanza jumps in at some point and she's like, this is my dinner. Like what you did, Nicole, was fucked up. Like, please stop talking now. And you never apologized or were accountable for it to Emma by saying that she had had an affair on somebody. And Nicole's like, where was this energy, Amanza, when they were saying horrible things about me? So Amanza's like, oh, you want to go back? Okay, let's go back. You guys were fucked up for that. You guys were fucked up for saying that she's on drugs. She's on drugs. That was fucked up. Okay. And then Chrishell responds and she's like, even if it's true, we're fucked up. And that's when Nicole fires back and says, I think you have me confused with your parents, because Chrishell has mentioned that her parents had a substance abuse issue and had done drugs. She threw this back in her face, her parents being drug addicts. And also, I want to affirm what Chrishell says in a later episode. It 100% sounded like her parents passed away from drug use. Like that's number one. Number two, how dare you speak on people who aren't here? Like, how dare you bring up her parents? I thought that was so overstepping. She basically was like, well, your parents are dead and they weren't shit. That's basically what she said. So Amanza tells her to be quiet or to leave. Okay. And Chrishell is like, you OD'd last year, Nicole, on cocaine. You OD'd last year. And she's like, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. Like, you're confusing me with your parents, because she mentioned that they were drug addicts. And at this point, Amanza tells her, Nicole, I hope you are on drugs, because what you just said is you cannot come back from and you need to go. The episode ends with Nicole denying that she had ever done drugs. She says, let me set the record straight. I like weed edibles. Okay. Okay. The episode ends with Amanza looking at the camera and being like, telling Nicole, you did it. You did it. Just say you did it. And she tells the camera in the back, I don't know why Nicole is being so stubborn, so holier than thou. She did it. We did blow together. She was a model in Los Angeles. I don't know why she's trying to deny it. Let's not, right? Like, because Amanza, you were a kid, right? Like, you're talking about your and Nicole's experiences together. Chrishell just said moments ago that last year, 2024, Nicole allegedly almost OD'd. Because that's what I got from that. Like, I think that both Nicole and Chrishell implied something that I'm not like 100% sure is true. What I said is true though. Nicole, your fried ends of your hair that's like translucent is just as see-through as you. You shouldn't have been here. You're here to stir shit up. You're still getting a paycheck from this show. So you show up to get your check, but you're insufferable. Like, Nicole is insufferable. What I do want to say is having, okay. Nicole's wrong because she talked about substance abuse in a derogatory way about Chrishell's parents. Chrishell is wrong because she brought up somebody's addiction and made things public. But both of them like aren't correct for how they handled things. Substance abuse is a serious thing. If that's true, I hope that Nicole got help. I hope that this doesn't make her relapse. But yet simultaneously, I'm not going to be more mad at Chrishell for reacting to that comment than I am at Nicole for going low first. Chrishell was bitchy to her, but Nicole went below the belt, responded to it, played into it. And by the way, like, Nicole's the one who needs to just like kind of take it and be the bigger person, because you're wrong. You're wrong. You fucked over my friend. You are the one who's treading on eggshells in the group, not me. So that's my opinion of the situation. I'll tell you what I hate the most about this season of Selling Sunset. We know that Chrishell and Emma are no longer friends because Emma has a MAGA boyfriend who said despicable things about Chrishell and Chrishell's partner. We know that Emma did not defend Chrishell. We know that Emma tried to act like I can still be your friend while being with somebody who doesn't believe that your partner's existence is real. All of these things. So it's like hard to watch this dynamic between Chrishell and Emma, and Chrishell rides so hard for Emma. And it's also like, okay, then Emma can't be a good friend to Chelsea because, again, values don't exist in a vacuum. So you can't be pro-Black, doing all of the things that you need to be doing to check your ignorance while you're dating a MAGA. People have talked about how Emma's relationship is controlling. I'm not going to speak on that because I don't know anything about her relationship. I do not follow her. If she is in a controlling relationship, I hope she gets out of it. The irreparable damage will be the fact that you let your partner speak on Chrishell. I don't believe that they'll ever be friends again. So it's a little weird to see them together, since we know that things are so different in future seasons. I also think it's weird that Alana is still on the show. I'm like, is this just a filler? Like, should I be on next season? Like, hi, I'm Leah and I sell $1 million houses. By the way, I just got to the episode of Real Housewives of Potomac where I met Mia's husband, G. Well, I've met him before, but he showed up to the couples trip and rolled his tongue around at Karen. So that's where I'm at with Real Housewives of Potomac. I hope that everybody has a good Halloween. If you're taking your kids trick-or-treating, if you're doing something fun, doing something with friends, carving pumpkins, having a movie night at home, tell me what you're doing for Halloween. Tell me what you're watching. I am catching up on Married at First Sight. A whole new batch of episodes, I believe, dropped yesterday, maybe even Wednesday. I'm just getting into them this morning. I started episode 7. I'm going to be guest appearing on another podcast to talk about the episodes, which I'll give you guys more information as that gets closer. Is there anything else that I should be covering? Let me know in the comments below. Tell me all of your thoughts. Happy Halloween. Make sure you're subscribed, like this video. Don't you dare close out before you like this video, before you make sure that you have rated the podcast 5 stars, before you share it with a friend. Your support means everything to me. Thank you to anybody who uses their hypes on my videos. I think YouTube wants us to look absolutely like we have no discernment or no self-respect. Like, please, sir, can I please have some more hype? Please, sir, give me some more hype. But alas, here we are. Everybody, happy Halloween.